What's going on, guys? We're back, and this is going to happen every single time we try and record this. Anyway, we are back with the Guardians of Light deck analysis. This is the white enchantment deck. Um, Very interesting. I'm not a huge fan of enchantments, so this is a little awkward for me, but we're going to make it work to the best of our ability. It works a little bit better in this kind of style of deck because I'll explain later, but it's good. So, we start off with one lifelink. Really has no benefit other than the fact that you gain life, which we have other cards for that later. Like this. This is amazing. There's a reason that it's like $30. That's not like 30, it's like 15, I think. I don't know, I just bought one for my EDH deck and I haven't got a chance to, or I don't recall the price. So, here we are at the Core Spirit Dancer. These guys are essential to the deck. +2/+2 for each aura that you put onto it, and whenever you play an aura spell, you draw a card. So that's the benefit there. Like I talked about in the Elf deck analysis, that I wasn't a fan of enchantments because you give your opponent the opportunity to 2-for-1 you. Now, if when you cast the aura spell, her ability goes on the stack, you draw a card, and then they remove it, you still 2-for-2. It's not, or you still 1-for-1 essentially. So you don't lose that advantage, you don't lose the card advantage, so it works well in this style of deck. So the Core Spirit Dancers absolutely have to stay. Sunstriker, we have a lot of 2-drops, which is very important for us because we are definitely not playing anything on turn 1. We're not mana excelling, we're not searching for mana. You know, I would run 4 Terramorphic Expanses in this if I could, just simply because we're not doing anything with our first turn. We might as well thin the deck out just a little bit. So I think I'm going to leave these guys in here for now. I don't know if they're going to stay in there, but we'll see what happens with them. Blade of the Sixth Pride is not bad. It's a 3/1 for 2 mana, but it's very weak. It doesn't have lifelink, so I'm going to take these guys out. The Daybreak Coronet, absolutely amazing. It has to be targeted, or it has to be on a creature with an aura already on it, but that's not too big of a problem. So that works. Greater Auramancy. I'm going to say yes. It's a little iffy for me because once you give a creature Shroud, you can't target it. If it gave him Hexproof, it would be much, much better. But enchant creatures you control have Shroud. Other enchantments you control have Shroud. It makes it very difficult for your opponent to deal with you. But you kind of lose the option of super pumping your creatures. So, but if you cast it late enough on a Core Spirit Dancer, it just makes them invincible. So I'm going to say yeah to that. The Spirit Mantle, +1/+1, and has protection from creatures. That's never a bad thing. So I'm okay with that. I'm getting a call from my distributor right now, but he'll wait. I'll give him a call tomorrow or later today. Enters the battlefield. You gain 3 life, and enchant creature gets +1/+3. Divine Favor. 2 mana. It's not bad, not great. I'm going to say no for now. We might come back to it. Pacifism is your way to deal with cards, and it lets you draw cards off of the Core Spirit Dancer if it's out. I can't tell you how many times I've pacified my own creature to draw cards. So it's not bad. I'd say okay with it. It's not solid removal, though. It's not an O-Ring. It's not a Journey to Nowhere. Nomad Mythmaker. Put target or a card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control, attached to a creature you control. This is when your opponent's trying to, deal a whole bunch of things to you, and you just are like, no, I'll just bring back the cards that you're dealing with and put them onto my creatures and make them big old pain for you to deal with. I'm going to leave 2 in here for now. I don't know if that's the right play yet. We'll have to see. But let's get on with the rest of the deck and we'll figure out where we're at. Mason Enchantress, whenever you cast enchantment spell, draw a card. Good enough. It basically lets us play 6 Core Spirit Dancers, almost. I say almost because it's almost. Skyhunter Skirmisher, the Cat Knight, flying double strike 1/1. You pump him up a little bit and you start swinging for 6. You pump him up a little bit more, you start swinging for 10. He gets out of control real fast, and your opponent has to deal with them. Now, if we're running the other guys, we don't need to be running the Auramancers, So I'm going to take out the Auramancers for now, because if we are running the Nomad Mythmakers, they're not quite as good, but at the same time they're better. Like, they don't have the immediate effect of the Auramancer, but they have a turn later, much better effect than the Auramancer. So we'll leave it there. Staff of the Sun Magus, just not even going to explain it again. It's been said 100 times. Pariah. Pariah is something that I overlooked a little bit. It is a removal spell. Almost. It's kind of like a delayed removal spell. It's like a pacifism almost, but a little bit better than pacifism. You put it on your opponent's creature, and when they attack, they do damage to your opponent's creatures. It saves you a turn of damage and kills their creature. So I'm going to say yes in this deck, absolutely. And I would probably actually go back and put this in Elspeth's deck somewhere, because it is a removal spell, even if it doesn't feel like a solid removal spell. Griffin Guide, +2/+2 and flying. Cannot argue with that. And then when a creature dies, or when the enchanted creature dies, you put out a 2/2 white Griffin creature token on the battlefield. So it's kind of like Totem Armor, a little bit. So I'm okay with that. Aura of Silence. Artifacts, enchantment spells your opponent cast cost 2 more to cast. If Tezzeret's deck was still a thing, definitely. But the Aura of Silence, I'm going to say no on, just because we don't really need it. I mean, if your opponent drops that big of a bomb on you, you know, the Aura of Silence is probably not going to save you, especially as a one-of. So I'm just going to say no. Sierra's Boon, +1/+2 as long as it's white. Otherwise, it gets +2, -1. Not amazing, very expensive. So I'm going to say no. Unquestioned Authority. Enters the battlefield, draw a card. Has protection from creatures. I mean, it's nice because it draws you a card, but we have one down here that costs 2 mana that has +1/+1 and protection from creatures. So, Unquestioned Authority, I'm going to say no on. Flash, enchanted creature. Creatures you control that are enchanted get +1/+1, so it's Flash, giving a creature +1/+1. Can be interesting. Can be a neat little combat trick. Can completely mess up your opponent, but I'm going to say no. Idyllic Tutor lets you search your library for an enchantment card, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your library. Awesome, especially when we get down to these later game enchantments, like the Angelic Destiny, or I'm sure that there's the Sigil of the Empty Throne, or things like that. So I'm going to keep those in there. Dawn Elemental, not bad. Can't be dealt damage. So, I mean, he has to be targeted with an actual solid removal spell. So, I'm going to keep the Dawn Elemental in there. Johnny's Chosen, whenever you play an enchantment, whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield, under your control, put a 2/2 white creature token on the battlefield. If that enchantment's an aura, you may attach it to the token. So, that's good. It lets you put out a bunch of creatures. I'm alright with that. Prevent all combat damage to be dealt to Seraph of the Sword. For now, I'm going to say no. It's not bad, but it's easily removed by all the new burden that's out. It's easily removed by kill spells. It's just, and I mean, most of the time you're just going to end up blocking with it, and Dawn Elemental is just better. Healer of the Pride, whenever another creature enters battlefield under your control, you may gain 2 life. Not that good. Yeah, if it was a creature that enters the battlefield anywhere, it might be playable, but just under your control, not really. Season Martial attacks, you may tap target creature. Not that good. It's a little too expensive for what it does. Angelic Destiny is a solid enchantment spell. Definitely play in them both. Sigil of the New Dawn, whenever a creature is put in the graveyard from the battlefield, you may pay 2. If you do, return that card to your hand. Awesome. Indestructibility is not good. 4 mana, and they're probably just going to kill the creature in response. And if they don't, you're probably winning the game anyway, because you probably have a huge creature that you're trying to make indestructible. So there's that. Divine Transformation, 4/4 +3, or 4 mana for a +3 power. I'm going to say no. Armored Ascension, +1/+1 for each planes you control and flying, so it's at least +4/+4 and flying for 4 mana. That's awesome. Retether, return all aura cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Only creatures can be enchanted this way. That is not bad at all. It's a good late game card, and as a one-of, that's what you want it to be in the deck. It's a good, solid late game card, and just Boom! All my creatures, or my one creature is just gigantic again. Totem Guide, Heart Beast, enters the battlefield, search your library for an ore card. If you put it in your hand, shuffle your library. 5 mana for a 2/5, no thank you. Its ability is nice, but not the cost. Vigilance, Lifelink, 2/4 for 5 mana, no thank you. Sigil, the Empty Throne, whenever you cast an enchantment spell, get a 4/4 White Angel creature token with flying onto the battlefield. Awesome. 3 Dreams. Search your library for up to 3 ore cards with different names, reveal them, put it in your hand, shuffle your library. It's a little bit good, a little bit bad, it's a little expensive. At the same time, it gets you, 3 very solid enchantment spells. So I'm going to leave them in here for now. I don't think they're going to stay in there, but I'm going to leave them in there for now because we're going to remove the rest of these cards probably. Evangelize. Creatures gain control of target creature of an opponent's choice that he or she controls. Buyback. Buyback is you pay it in addition to its cost, I think, or you pay 4 mana to return it from your graveyard to your hand. Something like that. But either way, it's very expensive to try and do that, and your opponent's just going to give you 1/1s or bad things, so I'm going to say no. Admonition Angel. Whenever land enters battlefield under control, you may exile target non-land permanent other than Admonition Angel leaves the battlefield. Return all cards exiled this way onto the battlefield under their owner's control. And just a huge target for death, so I'm going to say no. Purity. If non-combat damage should be dealt to you, prevent that damage. You gain life equal to the damage prevented this way. So if you're going up against like Chandra's Burn deck, this would be real good. But against pretty much everything else, not really. Aura Touched Mage enters the battlefield. Search your library for an Aura card. That card enchants it. If Aura Touched Mage is still on the battlefield, put an Aura card onto the battlefield attached to it. Otherwise, reveal an Aura card and put it into your hand and shuffle your library. Enters the battlefield, you search your library for an Aura card. And then if it's still on the battlefield, you can put that Aura card attached to it. Otherwise, you put that Aura into your hand. Very expensive. 6 mana, and there's a lot of words there. I'm going to say no. Not because there's too many words, just because it's not that good of an ability. Like, it's nifty because you can search for an Aura, but what's Stoneforge Mystic costs 2 mana and grabs a Jitty, so yeah. Celestial Mantle, +3/+3, deals combat damage to a player, double its controller's life total. It's not bad. I like it. We do need a couple late game bombs, and that's a late game bomb. True Conviction, creatures you control have double strike and lifelink. It's rather expensive, and we already have creatures that have double strike, and we already have enchantments that give lifelink. So, and then Final Judgment, exile all creatures. It's a big old Hydra. I'm surprised that I wouldn't be surprised if this card and where was it? The other one. This card get reprinted in the Theros block. It just fits the flavor very well. So we have 4 too many cards. 3 Dreams are a little expensive. They do get you a lot, but they're a little expensive. So now we have 2 cards that we can get rid of. What 2 cards do we not need? We do need creatures. We have a few too many enchantments right now. So we need to get rid of some enchantments, I feel like. So, what enchantments do we get rid of? Or spells of some sort? I do not want to get rid of those because those are probably one of our best cards. Let's get rid of 1 Pacifism. We still leaves us with 4 decent removal spells. I'm going to get rid of the Greater Auramancy, just because I don't like the idea of shrouding my creatures. And that puts us at 60. Perfect. So there we are. There's my list. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what we change, and we'll go over the list right now. Got 4 Core Spirit Dancers, 3 Ajani Sunstrikers, 2 Daybreak Coronets, 2 Spirit Mantles, 3 Pacifisms, 2 Nomad Mythmakers, 2 Mason Enchantress, 2 Skyhunter Skirmishers, 1 Pariah, 1 Griffin Guide, 2 Idyllic Tutors, 1 Dawn Elemental, 1 Ajani's Chosen, 2 Angelic Destiny, 1 Sigil with the New Dawn, 4 Armored Ascension, 1 Retether, 1 Sigil, and 1 Celestial Mantle. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you later.